Hey everyone, it is me, Danielle J. Mitchell, your up and coming queen of real estate, and I am here for today's and this week's Tuesday tip at two. So I'm super excited. Listen, be sure to like, share, subscribe, comment, all this is saying. Everything that this is saying down here, just do that. Okay. I always say if these videos are helping you in any way, please share them out. So share the wealth of knowledge, and use them to help somebody else who is um, potentially looking to buy or sell or just have questions, right? Um, so yeah. But anyway, so I'm excited today to talk about this topic of steering. Okay, steering. Steering is in real estate a term that we often hear about and learn about as a big no no. Okay, I am held to standards that are held by um, I'm held by standards that are held by the National Association of Realtors, as well as there are laws in regards to steering and other things that are big no-nos in regards to real estate under the Fair Housing Act. All right. Which is pretty much discriminating. Okay, so we're going to dig into this idea of steering. A lot of times, what made me kind of think of this, a lot of times I'll hear people ask me questions about the neighborhood. What's the neighborhood like, right? Because sometimes we may have a general idea about a zip code, but in Philadelphia, zip codes are can be pretty vast, can have a collection of a pretty wide range of neighborhoods within one zip code. So to understand each and every neighborhood, most people from Philly or those moving to Philly don't have understanding of different neighborhoods even in one zip code, right? And so oftentimes it's like, well, what you know about the neighborhood? What's the neighborhood like? And for me, I can't really partake in answering that question, right? Eve, because it falls again into the category of steering, as well as what we're going to go into is about, I don't want to appear biased. In no way, shape, or form do I want to try to um, steer you in a direction based on any bias that I might have. For example, this is not quite a steering example, but because I'm gonna give some other scenarios. But for example, we may walk into a house, right? And a client may walk into the house and be like, "Oh my God, this is just amazing! I'm in love with it. Like, I want it. Yes, this is perfect." And in my opinion, I'm like, "What? What are they seeing?" I'm like, okay, so for me as a realtor, I have to be impartial. I'm just going to play it off and I'm just going to be, okay, awesome. I'm glad you like it. We'll put in an application or we'll put in an offer. I'm glad, you love it. And I'm not talking about investment properties, and even some investors, oftentimes investors will see the beauty and, terrible looking properties as well, but that's because they see the vision of what it could be. But I'm just talking about just regular house hunting, right? Um, and it's just like, okay, I'm glad you like it. So it's very important for me, at least for me as a realtor, to not put in, my opinion in something, right? I will present you with the facts. If you're, trying to glean from me, maybe there's an option between properties. Like, what do you think it is versus this? I'll try to just present the pros and cons, right? Well, based on what you told me you wanted, this may be a good option for this, but also this may be a good option for these reasons. So it really just depends on what you feel is best, right? So, as a realtor, I just want to guide you through the process, but I want you, my client, to have those enthusiastic decisions when it comes to the process of home buying. Okay. So let's get into steering. Steering is the practice of influence a buyer's choice of communities based upon one of the protected characteristics under the Fair Housing Act, which are race, color, religion, gender, disability, familial status, or national origin. Okay, so here are some examples. Steering occurs, for example, when real estate agents do not tell buyers about available properties that meet their criteria or express views about communities with the purpose of directing buyers away from or towards certain neighborhoods due to their race or other protected characteristics. Okay? If you, my client, requests a nice, good, or safe neighborhood, me, as the real estate professional, could unintentionally, right? It's not what I mean to do. Again, we're talking about bias, right? Because we're all human. We all have bias based on for whatever reason. That's just human nature, right? So you can unintentionally stare at a client by excluding certain areas based on his or her perceptions of what those terms mean. Okay. So the thing about staring is that um, we could go into a neighborhood and you could ask me, hey, uh, is this neighborhood safe? Now, depending on how you grew up, depending on where you're from, safe is based on your perception and it's all relative. So what I may think is safe may not be what you feel is safe. So therefore, that can cause some problems, right? And me interjecting my opinion in these matters. If you ask me, um, just certain things, of course, you should know that it is not good for you to ask, well, so, and some people say, what's the nationalities here? Some people, can feel safe with certain nationalities or unsafe. You know, I encourage anybody who has questions about a neighborhood based on whatever their preferences are to research the neighborhood. Okay. So, because again, I can't answer certain questions, right? Because I don't want to get in trouble in regards to steering. And this is somewhere that you're going to live for a length of time. It's your home. So you want to feel comfortable. So, some tips on, to not ask me and to not put me in a position like this is for you to do your research, for you to research the neighborhood. You use your Google machine, as I call it. You can search if you're concerned about crime rates, if you're concerned about demographic, if you're concerned about these different things, go ahead, research it. Ride around the neighborhood on a weekday, on a weeknight, on the weekend. Ride around the neighborhood, ride on that block, and see. Now in this market, it can be a bit more difficult to do this, but understand with this aggressive market that, listen, if you really like something, want to check it out, or after you've seen something, you want to check it out and linger for a bit, then that's what you need to do, immediately, because we talk about it being a seller's market. Okay. So it's important for you to do your research. Listen, ask family and friends. You may have family members, you may have friends, you may have colleagues who are familiar with certain areas. Again, everything is based on, people's own bias and things of that nature. So, use wisdom when gathering information. But if these things are deal breakers are important to you, make sure that you're researching different neighborhoods, areas, and all that good stuff. What's also included for those who have children, families, is researching schools. Okay, you have to consider the schools that's within that neighborhood. How are you going to handle that? Asking me, is this a great school district? Again, that is perception. That is, something. Now, I could know factually that a particular school district is award winning because that's just on record, right? So I may tell you that, but to tell you that if it's good or not, I can say that it's a award winning school district because that's factual. That's based off of it was in a newspaper. It's all in this article, something like that. But for the most part, you need to do your research. A great website to go on in regards to schools is greatschools.org. Greatschools.org. Okay, that's a great resource in looking at different schools, whether it is private, public, charter, whatever it is. It's a great school resource that you can use. Okay. Um, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. That's all I really wanted to say about steering. Just be sure that understanding the term steering again. There are other terms called redlining. There was a big problem in regards to that. Back in the day, not back in the day, but back in the day. And so, you don't, in real estate, we have to be mindful as realtors of what we say, because even though the intention is not to steer or not to, throw in bias and stuff like that, it can happen again unintentionally. So it's my job to, let you know about a house, but when it comes to I have to be the expert in regards to that and finding out as much as I can. But when it comes to just what surrounds that house, is you have to do your research as a buyer. Do your research for sure, and I'll just point you in a direction and give you tips on what kind of research you need to do. I hope that's helpful. So just know that if I don't answer certain questions and I'm just like, if I give you that response, you should go ahead and do research. Then that is why, because of something called steering. Okay. Listen, I hope you enjoy your day. Remember, there is no place like home, no place like home buying. Listen, if you are interested or know someone who is interested in buying a home or selling their home, you can go or you can give them this link, or if that is you, use this link, book.djmrealtyco.com. Again, that is book.djmrealtyco.com. And listen, I'll see you guys next week for another episode of Tuesday 2 at 2. Bye.